episode has just sounded like old people talking about old shit. Back at the turn of the century. Oh my gosh. We're saying that now. Oh my gosh.
Any other bits of any other old person things that you guys want to comment on? Is it time for ice cream? So their glasses flew off.
God.
Hello, Joey. How are you doing this afternoon? This is
Good
like a later
afternoon.
recording session for us.
It's a bit different. I'm actually well rested.
Right?
This is a good thing for me.
Oh, that's interesting. See, so are you more of an afternoon person than a morning person?
I am a 10 p.m. to 2 p.m. person, or 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. person. I'm good for about 4 hours.
Yeah, me too, but mine are before lunch. That's my
Yeah.
that's
Right
my
around lunch
optimal.
is, yeah. And then I get a
Yeah,
second wind late at night, and then that's when I get very creative about things. But if you want me to get things done, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Yeah.
interesting.
So we're
Yeah, I
actually
do think
past
that,
my window, so we'll see what happens.
yeah. Yeah, we're actually both outside of our window, so that'll be interesting to see. So, well, we got to check out the algorithm and see kind of what's popping up, right? On both of our.
Do you know, I haven't even checked my Instagram today, so let's see. Here we go. MTA worker pushed somebody off a train. You got that going on.
Oh,
Carolyn Bessette Kennedy makeup because of Love Story, the Ryan Murphy thing. Oh, and a little boy, this keeps popping up, this boy he's upset because he asked for a hamburger and then they gave him a hamburger and he was upset
what,
about it. Yeah, I'm real happy with my life choices.
that sounds.
That's what that reminds me of. Yeah.
That sounds okay. So that sounds like some kid. Yeah, that sounds like some kid action, right? Like kid logic, right? Like I
Yeah.
want a hamburger.
I
Give
wanted
me
a
a hamburger.
hamburger. You shouldn't have given me a hamburger. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that happens a little bit like in politics too. I think there's a certain, I don't know, I feel like there's some sort of
Say
thing
more.
there that people,
Say more. Do you have an example?
I don't know. No, I don't. I think it's more of like, the reason it jumped to mind was because I watched this thing on Reason, which is like a kind of like I guess it's like a libertarian news. It's not news. It's more like thought stuff. And one of the things they always talk about, and they do it in like a funny way, they always talk about unintended consequences. And so like, kind of like you would ask for your burger and then like, sure, we're going to give everybody burgers. But then it turns out that like the price of beef goes through the roof because they're like, the government starts buying all the beef, you know? And then like no one can afford beef now. So you wanted to give more burgers, but in reality, you actually are giving less because now people who have to buy it can't afford it. Like that sort of like economic sort of stuff. So maybe that's what the little kid was worried about. He was worried about the effects of
Price
that
of
free
beef.
burger
He was
on the price of beef.
he was worried about the price of beef. We got to give children more credit. Yes.
Exactly. So I'm gonna open up my Instagram
Yeah.
here.
What are the first three
I
things?
haven't been looking at the Instagram very much. So
Yeah, I've been trying
actually,
to
you know what? I am on. Okay, so the first thing that comes up is a thing called Dark Files Web, which is essentially people like, oh, this guy is holding something. And he just shot him. He just shot him with a shotgun. Like. Just randomly, like it's always security camera video. I'm actually surprised because some of it's pretty like for Instagram, it's pretty aggressive sometimes. The second one I have is a girl who I don't think I've seen before. The caption says, "One wife and one side chick is enough for a normal man. Anything above that is cheating."
Uh-huh.
So,
Fascinating.
right, that's actually a good topic of conversation for us
Is it?
in a bit.
Is it though?
And then well, I don't know. I want to hear what you think about it. Maybe you think that two side chicks is the right number before it's cheating. I didn't know. I don't want to presume what your thoughts are on it. And then the other one here is another Instagram girl, Jelly Bean Brains, who you haven't heard of her. Her name's I don't know what her
No.
actual name is, but she's Jelly Beans. She was famous because she used to stand on top of like expensive cars and then like hit them with a golf club or like break the windshield kind of thing. And
Were
then
these cars that she owned, or these were just
she owned, they were her cars. She owned them, but they were like Lamborghinis and stuff. And then she like break the windshields and stuff.
for why? For views.
No, right. So for views, but probably because that activity produces viral results, right? People like,
Boy.
passing it around, right? So, bit of a shock jock, as it were, I guess. But anyway, she makes $40 million a year, so you can't.
Well,
Can't
I guess I
blame
need to get some golf clubs, start smashing
get some
things.
golf comes with a Lamborghini. All right,
Let's check in with Kelly. Let's check in with what's going on in Florida.
Kelly's here. Grab your shades. It's a wild, weird Florida day.
Boom! Here I am. Oh my gosh. I keep saying, I said this last time, but I need to get a new ring set up or something. Anyway. Okay. Hi. It's been kind of a slow sort of, I had to go back a couple of weeks. I guess it's because there's been so much real news that nobody's been doing local news. So it's kind of a slow news time. There's the one I had. Okay, so here's a good one. From dream to nightmare. Vendor says Barbie event felt like a farmer's market. Apparently, there was a Barbie Dream Fest, which happened in South Florida, and I guess it was kind of akin to that. Remember that Willy Wonka land?
Yes. Ooh, what
I think
a
it was like
disaster.
akin to that. So people were like promised a giant Barbie dream house and free, I don't know, whatever, free Barbie glam sessions and stuff like that. So apparently everybody's very upset. The vendors are saying that they're upset because it felt like this one's kind of sad. She's like this lady, I'm not going to say her brand just in case she doesn't want it, but she sells accessories, and she says, the mission that she and Barbie has is similar. They're trying to inspire the young girls to be whoever they want. So she signed up for the event. But there was supposed to be a life-size dream house and an 80s themed disco rink, complete with neon lights and a throwback DJ and a glam bar. That was supposed to be part of the Barbie Dream Fest, and none of that materialized. And she said that what happened is that she sells like little Barbie, like little girly hair thing. And so little girls would run up to her vendor stall thinking that it was the free glam bar. And then she'd have to tell them that, like, no, sorry, I'm selling this stuff. So anyway, so she was saying that she would like the marketer person who put on this event to consider giving them, the vendors, like a cash back on their vendor fee because it was quite expensive, or at the very least an apology.
So this was like a Barbie Fire Festival, basically.
I was just thinking of the Fire Festival.
What's Fire Festival? I guess I don't know Fire Festival. What is this?
Hell,
You gotta watch one of the 20 documentaries on the Fire Festival.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so the Fire Festival was where that guy online like basically promised this big festival on an island, and it was going to be this whole thing. And then I think we watched one of those
That sounds
documentaries.
familiar to me, yeah.
And they raised millions of dollars, and then it just never happened.
And it was supposed to be super
There was something
VIP.
like that. I didn't go on social media to see if I could see any like people posting about it, but apparently it was supposed to happen like this past weekend in Fort Lauderdale. So big deal. Then another big deal, Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
That was in Jupiter, which is just around the corner from where we are. So
great meme.
I'm sorry?
Great memes about Tiger Woods.
Lots of great memes. I guess they just released the body cam footage. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not, I mean, I don't know. Go watch it yourself. That's an interesting
Yes, the best meme. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah. So, I know what you were going to say. There's some pretty bad memes out there.
I forgot we were recording.
Okay, there was another one. Okay, this is a good one. This is from a while ago. This is a local story of a guy who killed his cousin, and he injured like 4 others in this shooting spree. But I'm going to read this because these are the craziest names I think I've ever seen, ever. So this guy's name is Tremont Terrell Gibson, and he's the suspect in a Riviera Beach shooting that left his cousin dead and 4 others injured. He made an appearance in a Palm Beach County courthouse on Wednesday, whatever that was. Gibson, 20, speaking to the judge during the appearance, stating, "I'm fighting something I can't even see. I see it at night. I see it now looking at you." Bond was denied for this man. Surprise, surprise. So he shot his cousin, and he attempted to dispute the narrative in the case, stating to the judge that nobody died. But Gibson is facing a first-degree murder charge after his cousin, John Halliburton III, was shot on Monday. According to the affidavit, Gibson arrived at these places on Monday to visit his girlfriend, sitting on the bench smoking marijuana, when one of the 3 men approached him, one being Halliburton. This footage shows Gibson and Halliburton, along with Ernest Giles and Dillian T. Wright, outside of a leasing office. Gibson then raises his gun and shoots Wright in the head. Halliburton attempts to disarm Gibson, and Gibson shoots him. Halliburton was discovered between two buildings with multiple gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene. That's awful. It was located near the leasing office. Gibson told investigators that he asked Halliburton to bring a bag with a gun, stating that Giles and Wright had been harassing him. He said that he needed to get rid of his demons. He told investigators he was referring to the two men. Gibson stated he felt no remorse for shooting either his cousin or the other men. After fleeing, Gibson attempted to carjack James B. Easley, the driver of a Mercedes, who was shot multiple.
This sounds like a college writing exercise.
There is a certain amount of all of the names were pretty impressive. I don't know, maybe it's like less impressive when you're reading them like that, but I was very impressed by all of the names in this thing.
Those were
I feel like that must mean that when you're driving down the street, you don't realize how many hilarious names are in the cars around you.
I guess.
If you start carjacking randomly, you'll be like, "What's your name?" Right? Although your name, Kelly, yours is probably like the most like not interesting.
It's
name.
pretty
Kelly
boring.
so boring compared to all of those. I'm not going to make those.
Joey, what's your middle name?
Leland. They wanted. It's another boy's name. Joey
That's
Leland.
Cute, though. Joey Leland. I'm Kelly Lynn. Kelly Lynn Williams. I mean, that's pretty. You don't get much more white bread than that.
Yeah.
Kelly Lynn does sound like a stripper name, though.
Kelly Lynn.
Actually,
Kelly Lynn, Red Maple Lane. That's my name with the street I grew up on or something, right?
When I was joining Screen Actors Guild, two actors can't have the same name, so that's why many actors have like a hyphenated or they've got a letter in between their name. And before I knew if there was another Joey Parsons in the union, I was trying to think of another name, and I was going through my family name. And at first, I thought maybe I'd go by Joey Leland, that being my middle name. And my dad was like, "No, you can't do that. You sound like a stripper from the 50s." Okay. And I was like, "But you named me." Like, he gave me both those names. And then he was like, "How about your great-grandmother's maiden name, Joey McSpadden?" And I was like, I am not going through life.
McSpadden.
Joey McSpadden. McSpadden?
Joe, did you have, this is a side thing, but did you have like kid nicknames? Like, did kids at school call you any nicknames? I was Kelly Smelly. That was my brother that did that, though. Kelly Smelly.
No, I didn't really have any nickname. You called me JoJo.
JoJo. Your
few
brother
people call me JoJo. Yeah, he calls me Joseph a lot of the time.
That's cool.
No, usually I would get Joey. That's a boy's name. Like, I wouldn't get like a nickname of any kind. No.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dan, what about you? Did you get any of that?
You got me thinking. I don't think so. I think I've just always been Dan. Like, it's been pretty easy going for me. You know what I mean? I have a pretty with a silver spoon in my mouth kind of childhood, I guess. So no crazy name. I guess, it's funny, people used to say Dan the Man, and then for some reason that super annoyed me. That was like, there's worse things than that. Like, that's not that big a deal. So, no.
All right.
I was trying to think about, I had a Dungeons and Dragons name, but I don't remember what it was. I had a character in Dungeons and Dragons.
You really don't remember? You seriously don't remember?
I seriously don't, because all I can think of right now is Ballsby Dragon, which is what I would name my current Dungeon and Dragon character if I had one, but I don't. So that has replaced the name in my brain from the past. Ballsby Dragon, and I would be some sort of dragon character named Ballsby.
Yeah, that's good. I don't really have much more. Apparently on the Artemis launch, the toilet was out for a little bit, but now it's okay.
Dear God.
I mean, there's one thing, this was interesting. Oof. Am I moving on too fast? Maybe I shouldn't jump, but there's another thing. This is kind of interesting, but it doesn't say much, but this is a decades-long mystery ends. A teen missing since 1994 was located alive. A woman who vanished as a 13-year-old in Arizona more than 30 years ago has been found alive. Christina Maria Plant disappeared in 1994 after leaving her home to visit her horse at a nearby stable. It just goes on to say that basically they had really exhausted trying to find this girl in 1994, and then they didn't have any leads, but that this sheriff's department has a cold case department, and they picked up the cold case and they were able to locate this lady 30 years later. It says nothing. It doesn't give any information about what happened or who she is or whatever. But it just occurred to me, like, if you're the parents of that 13-year-old girl, I mean,
that was my question. A lot of times those cases are one of the parents are the ones who took her. Right?
I mean, maybe it doesn't give any information.
Did you see that one case just recently? I mean, it was all over the internet where the cops pulled up and were like talking to the older woman, like in her 70s, and were like, and the neighbor was there with her, like standing on the front lawn, like, shooting the shit or whatever. And the cops roll up like in SWAT, like they're like, this is a serious thing. They come walking up to us and they're like, are you so-and-so? And they're like, she's like, yeah. And the other lady is just like, the neighbor, like, thinks it's a joke. And she's like, yeah, what'd you do? Like, like, whatever. And so then they were like, no, we're serious, ma'am. Like, go away. So like on the video, you can see the neighbor like walking back slowly across the street, like trying to like walking away. And it turned out that that lady, who's like in her 70s, and now the daughter was like in her 30s or whatever, had kidnapped the daughter from another state from the dad, and like left the state and just disappeared and changed her name and did a whole other life. And the daughter, she must have been younger than that because she didn't remember all this. And so, yeah, the daughter never knew the dad, and then they were reunited. And this was like 4 months ago.
This one doesn't say anything. This says that she was reported missing after she vanished without a trace from her community. And at the time of the disappearance, extensive search efforts were conducted involving local law enforcement, volunteers, and regional resources. But at the time, there were no viable leads.
Okay, so here's a question. Where was she? What was she doing all this time? And second, if you were going to vanish from your community, where would you vanish to?
Like now? As a 50-year-old?
No, now. For now. Well, actually, yeah, now. If you were going to be like, I'm just going to go start a new life in a new place, where would you go?
Paris.
I'll join you. I'll come with you.
I think I could get lost there pretty easily.
Yeah.
Well, now people would look for me there, but 30 seconds ago they wouldn't have.
Yeah, I guess I would say the same. That would be fun.
You want to go, Kels?
Although I could do it in New York. I could go to New York cheaper. No one would know me in New York except for
What about you, Dan?
I would go to Vietnam.
Why Vietnam? You're just making shit up, aren't you?
No, seriously. I've never been to Vietnam, but I've always wanted to go. So that's one of the places I want to go. Because I always imagine it. It's probably not at all like this. It probably would be very disappointing. But I always imagine it from like the old Vietnam movies with like people living in like the little villages and like cigarettes and like gambling under like in a basement somewhere and like, all those, like, that's probably, if I was going to like go with something totally different, figure that's the way to go.
I'm sure that's what it is anymore. Yeah. You have to travel back in time.
Probably just regular like people who speak English half the time.
Probably.
Or Vietnamese or whatever.
No, that's what I said, half the time.
That's all I got, you guys. I'm not contributing much today. Sorry. I feel like it was kind of a dull
news week in Florida. Fascinating.
Yeah. Well, you forgot the most important news, Kelly. Wait, didn't I say that we were going to talk about something else from our thing? But anyway, you forgot the most important news.
What?
PBI is now DJT.
Who is it named
Did you hear
after?
about this?
No.
It's
Donald
not.
J.
I mean,
Trump.
is it really? Is it fully?
Yeah, DeSantis signed it. Like I just
Did
saw
they?
it all pop up. I mean, unless Instagram news is lying to me.
Wait, yesterday was...
And also, one of my friends, his wife is a state senator person. She was actually the one who made the suggestion originally, and then of course Trump was all about it. So
I mean, 2 days ago, this was actually the day before, March 31st. They did not release it on April 1st. Governor Ron DeSantis signed legislation transferring to the state of Florida the authority to name major commercial service airports, including Palm Beach International, PBI. Under the law, PBI will be renamed President Donald J. Trump International Airport, pending all required approvals, including FAA approval. The legislation affects only the airport's name. Ownership, operation, and governance by Palm Beach County as owner of PBI remains unchanged. The law takes effect July 1st. See, the thing I saw, the legislation does not change the airport's code, PBI. Federal legislation regarding the code has been introduced. Any change would follow the FAA's established review process.
I actually would prefer if they just kept it PBI because it's
Me too.
Because it's got Palm Beach reference in there.
Me too.
You'd have to fly from LaGuardia to Trump International.
I don't want to have to fly to Fort Lauderdale to see you guys.
I'm so against this name changing. I am not going to the airport.
Yeah.
I think I personally think it's dumb because I think that there's better things that we could spend that money on. But whatever, I guess. Whatever.
What would you say money needs to be spent on in your community right now? Where should the money be going?
I don't even know. I don't even know. I mean, the opportunities are endless. I really don't know. I don't know, and quite frankly, I'm not willing to commit.
Exactly.
Understood.
This is a fun Kelly game. Let's try to get Kelly to commit to some sort of like position on anything.
I will not. I remain a mystery. You never get to know. You don't get to know what I'm thinking.
Do you feel, Kels, that you easily adopt other, like if somebody has a persuasive argument, that you're very easily, not easily swayable, but easily like you really take in what someone else
feel, and Dan might feel differently. I feel like I am like, oh, that's reasonable. I can hear what you're saying. Well, that's reasonable. I can hear what you're saying. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Dan? Dan, tell me, do I adopt things?
Fantastic.
What do you think? Tell me what to think about how I am.
Oh my God.
My God.
No, that's not. You're not like that at all. No, I think that you do listen to what people have to say. I think you have a tendency to say the opposite of whatever the person standing in front of you is. If you know them good enough to say anything at all. Oh,
Stewie in the background. I do that. I play
say,
devil's advocate a lot, and it drives my kid crazy. There's a cat. There's Stewie.
Interesting. I don't feel this about you. I don't feel this about you as somebody who's been a friend of yours for many, many years now. I don't.
I mean, maybe
this about you.
maybe I don't know. Maybe I do that only with certain things where I'm not so sure about. I mean, I do it a lot with Dan and Winston. I think I'm like, oh well, I can see this side. I don't know. What do you think about this? They joke that I would be like, oh yeah, well this person's not horrible. This person has a like, oh, Hitler was an artist.
Whoever's editing this, clip that and just put that on loop. No, so yeah, I think that you are definitely disagreeable on things, even when you seemingly agree. I think, well, that's a good point. Even if she agrees, it has to be presented in a way that is like, what's the word, Kelly? Politically correct? That's not the right word.
I just tend to see
that has empathy.
I just see things from multiple perspectives, so I always have a hard time when something is all one way or all the other. So maybe that's kind of what it is.
And
so generally, if I feel like somebody is really far one way, and maybe the reason why I don't do this, Joey, is that I haven't seen you. I mean, we haven't gotten into like serious, I guess, maybe political discussions. I don't know. But like, if somebody is way far in one direction, I almost feel compelled to bring up the other side, just because I never think that anything is all one thing or another. But I don't necessarily argue. I mean, I'm arguing sides that I don't actually believe in. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Just because it's like, well, these, it's like this,
Yeah.
I don't know. So there you go.
I don't know. I have a tendency to just look at things from like a mostly economic perspective or rational perspective, and I don't really need the fluff. And then Kelly doesn't like that.
No, I don't dislike that. I just think it's funny that the thing that made me laugh about that is a rational perspective, making the assumption that somebody else is not rational.
No, I just mean like the presentation of it is fairly, I don't need the extra stuff. Just like how does this actually work? I don't need anything beyond that.
So if someone came to you, Dan, with an opposing viewpoint, but with a very rational explanation as to why they feel that way, do you think that you can change your mind? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But it would have to be rational. It can't appeal to like
emotion. It can't be emotional.
Yeah.
It has to. Gotcha.
Right. Yeah. If it appeals to all, if somebody was like, well, because of, it really would have to be pretty. Yeah. I'm very utilitarian in that regard. Like, it just has to be like, well, like, here's an example. Can I give an example?
Please.
This is a great example. I don't remember, Kelly will remember this. I don't remember when I kind of talked about this. People may disagree with this thought. It was just kind of an academic exercise to even think this. One of the things that I said, and again, I don't even know how much I actually would stand behind this if I really thought through it. But one thought that I had in relation to mass shootings, right? Because one of the arguments, well, if we didn't have the Second Amendment and have such access to guns, then we wouldn't have as many mass shootings. And people make an argument about like, oh, well, Australia took away the guns, and so therefore they don't have as many mass shootings, blah, 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 right? Like, that's always kind of the argument. Okay, well, that is there's rationality to that. But one of the kind of counter arguments that I have to that is that from like a global, if you believe in like global Western values of like liberty and like making sure that you don't fall into like some sort of like what I think is bad, like a communist dictatorship or something where there's like authoritarian control. The theory is that like a lot of guns spread around the population makes it really hard for control to be centralized into one place. That was the original logic. So there is a certain element of, you could make the argument that the U.S. with the Second Amendment in the liberal way that we have it is not only a protection against, like for us, protecting the government, protecting ourselves from like a centralized totalitarian control coming in, but it's also protecting Western values in general, because what I saw during COVID times was this kind of like consolidation of power that seemed to be trying to manifest. And again, maybe people will totally disagree with me on this, but I thought I saw it as a global like centralization of powers trying to like take root. And part of the reason that I believe that that didn't happen was because there was no way for the US to be totally centralized control, because at least half of the population is like waiting for somebody to do something, right? Like that's kind of the American, at least some Americans are like waiting for that. So therefore, it's almost like an insurance policy. The fact that we have Americans walking around with guns and running around with guns all day long, it's sort of it's a premium. That's how I described it to somebody else. If you have an insurance policy, you have to pay a premium. The premium is if you have more guns, more people are going to get shot. But the overall total value of the insurance policy kind of protects this whole scheme of Western liberal democracy.
Wow, you really do think about things in terms of economics.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, that would be the argument if you wanted to have a good one against that.
I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna sit here and look at my cat. I'm not gonna even. I'm gonna look for this. I lost my. Oh no, the
what?
cat off my
what?
thing.
Can't hear you.
What? Oh no! Oh, so sorry.
So anyway, so that's my point. So you'd have to make an argument against that as well, I would say. But look, anyone can make an argument about anything.
That's true. That is true, and there are people who do it.
Exactly. Is that a sarcastic way of saying?
No. I have met people who, and I've sadly dated people who just want to be contrary just for the sake of being contrary. They may not even believe the thing they're arguing. They just don't want to agree with whomever they're having a conversation.
Air feels like
some people just like to argue. That's for sure. Where did Kelly go?
Winston's toenail fell off, so I was just kind of dealing with that. He's running.
Your family.
One thing.
This is kind of a boring episode. I'm sorry. I started it out. Maybe it wasn't just me. Thank you very much. But there was. I mean, even the Palm Beach News. There wasn't much. I don't know where we're going with this one.
My improv show. That's what I was going to tell you about, Joey.
Tell me all about it. So did you do a show? So you've been taking a class, correct?
Yeah. So I hadn't done improv in how long, Kelly? It's been a long time.
Since we moved. Actually, since before we moved from Chicago. Yeah. Were you doing anything in Chicago? Like it was might have been as long as Winston's been around. Yeah. So it could have been like 15 years without improv. So I signed up for this class, which was a beginner's improv class. Which was lucky because the guy Billy who taught it, who was a really cool dude, taught it as it was long form improv as opposed to games, which a lot of times the new improv classes, like first time improv classes, are games. This was not that. This was long form, which I would much prefer. But anyway, I didn't tell anyone that I had already done a lot of improv stuff in the past, and not that I was like the best in the world, but I definitely wasn't new, right? And I am a pretty solid B improv player, right, Kelly? Is that what you would say? Yeah, for sure. He's not necessarily the funny one, but he's good at driving the information. He remembers the information. He brings it back. So he's good at moving the story forward.
I'm very dependable improviser in a group, and especially with a bunch of newbies, some of which most of which had never done any improv at all. And we went from zero to doing a show, like a 30-minute show. We have a good group. For, again, only 10 weeks of more than half the group never doing anything before. So I felt pretty good about it. I got a couple zingers in there, which was always nice. That's not the goal, but it's good to get a laugh once in a while. And I thought I had it pretty good under control. My main objective, which I think came across, was to not appear like amped up. You know what I mean? Because I'm nervous or anything like that, which I wasn't, because I just don't, because I'm comfortable with all that stuff. I mean, at least in that environment. I mean, I guess if you put me at the Kennedy Center and say, okay, like now do improv, maybe I would be a little bit more
technically the
concerned.
Trump Kennedy Center, but just
yeah. I'll fly from Trump Airport to Reagan. And then I'll go to the Kennedy Center, all presidents, right? The Kennedy Trump Center. So yeah, I'm trying to think. It was good though. The thing that's funny about it is that I didn't really realize I actually kind of missed it. Like I really did sort of look. I did look forward to it every week to go in and take those classes and like have some fun with it and everything like that. And it was funny because I didn't think that I like missed it that much, but I actually enjoyed the time and I actually enjoyed the
Do you feel you learned something new this time around that you hadn't really integrated before?
I think I said to Kelly, like maybe within the first couple weeks, I think I'm better. This sounds like a real Donald Trump situation right here. Like I hadn't done it in 15 years, but it turns out I'm actually better than I
You're
was
the best
before.
in the world. You're the best improviser in the world.
Best improviser ever. Makes the best decisions, says yes to everything, always remembers the facts.
Didn't practice at all, but somehow got better. No, but I actually did feel like that in some ways I actually was more comfortable and better than in the past. I think maybe because there was a little bit of, my mom said it's because my regular life is actually more like, what did she say? Exciting, stressful, whatever the case may be, than like improv would be. So I don't think that was the case, but
Improv's maybe even a more controlled, despite the fact that it's not controlled, it's a more controlled environment than your regular life.
that's probably a good way of saying it. So I think that that's the case. I think it was more of like this is a very clear parameters. Like the world is only as big as this stage, so I can just deal with that. And it was kind of like almost like a meditative sort of situation of like I'm only focusing on this right now, you know, and the people around me are, you know, reliable and trustworthy, and that I don't have to worry about them trying to screw me at any point. No, that's true. I don't really think about that in real life, but you never know.
And you trust yourself a bit more. You know, this is something I've often thought about in terms of art and artists. And I'll use the example of like musical artists. Frequently, a band or an artist, a singing artist, recording artist will hit, like their first album is a huge hit when they're, 25, 27 years old. And as their careers go on, maybe their hits aren't as solid or as grand as they initially were, but the artists themselves would say that they feel they're more connected to the material, or that they've marinated into like the kind of artist they want to be, but maybe their stuff isn't as provocative as it was at the very beginning. And I sometimes think of myself in terms of, I think I'm a better actor now than I've ever been, but I'm not working quite as much because I don't have like, what's the word? I don't have that like frenetic, frantic kind of energy that I did up until like my mid-30s, let's say, that I think was perhaps attractive to people who were hiring, but not so attractive to live in. Does any of this make sense to you guys? What are your
I'm
thoughts?
curious about what do you mean though? Tell me more about this. Like, why would this frenetic energy be more appealing to
I think there's something attractive about something that's animal and instantaneous and just kind of alive. And I'm not saying I'm less alive, but I've certainly mellowed quite a bit. I'm not as easily provoked. I don't. I'm a much better person, I think, to be around in general. But I'm wondering if maybe I'm not as exciting to watch as an actor. I don't know. I think tastes are all over the place, but I just think about this in terms of, I think about the music that was very important to me when I was younger. Let's say like Nirvana, when It Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, they never had a hit that was as gigantic as that, right? Even though they still had several albums that followed. Alanis Morissette, her first album was a huge hit. And though she continued to make good music, none of them were as big a hit as that initial one. I'm curious sometimes about youth and energy versus age and wisdom when it comes to art.
All right, I'm gonna push another category. So what a lot of times in business and entrepreneurs and people who found companies, normal or like the Instagram ethos always talks about the young 20-year-old founders, the tech founders who have these things, and then by the time they're 35, they're worth billions of dollars. Like that's kind of the story. But the statistics are actually, most of the time, people don't make their big money or their big, even if they're starting the company from scratch, it doesn't happen until they're like 50 and up. So like Ray Kroc, who the founder of McDonald's, he was in his, I believe, like early 50s when he started McDonald's after having a whole career leading up to that. And he actually more fits how the statistics show people's like breakout successes in business usually come in that later stage, not the earlier stage. So like to your point about artists, that they might have their big hits at the beginning, but then they actually feel like more connected to the music or more connected to what they're doing as they get older. I wonder if that's kind of a similar thing. Now, granted, in art, and that's maybe the question, in business, nobody cares theoretically how old you are. They just care about what the business is and how the product delivers and how does it scale and all that stuff. I wonder if artists are potentially at some sort of weird psychological, sociological disadvantage, because there's like almost like you're talking about that young energy, even though it's maybe not as good, or it's maybe not as like as meaningful or something, but somehow that by itself has some sort of value that as a society we put on it, even though it may or may not be valuable. I don't know. Like that's like the Bansky thing, right? Like if you don't know who the person is, like you don't know
Banksy?
what they look like. Yeah, Banksy. Yeah. What did I say, Bansky? That's my guy. I'm Bansky.
I know who. Yeah.
Banksy. If you like, but it's like that's the idea, right? That maybe that's like, but then that it takes that extra variable away. I don't know.
There's something. Yes. I hear what you're saying, and I do think it's pervasive throughout the arts. But I would also say in business, I do see, there's the 30 under 30 list. Watch out for these young hotshots, whatever it is. I sound like I'm 100 years old when I say shit like that. But I do feel like in most industries, there's a focus to look at this amazing young energy. Look at what these people are going to accomplish. They're all under 30 years old right now. Whereas for the most part, I want older people running shit. Not but I like the experience behind stuff. I prefer watching most of the stuff I watch on TV or movies anymore. It has older people involved in it. I like when people have come into their own. Yes.
I also wonder how much of that is our kind of being at our age. It's like almost like you kind of want to see what your own experience is mirrored.
Sure.
So I wonder. I mean, for me at any rate, that's kind of what I notice is like I like faces that are like of my age. I find that I'm like, oh, that person's interesting. Who is that person? Oh, they're around about my age. So I wonder if how much of that is just my own kind of bias versus like, I mean, there is like the basic truth of youth equals there is a beauty and an appeal and an attractiveness to youth in general. So just that's good. There's always going to be that. I mean, somebody who's young is going to have the advantage of youth, whether that's an advantage or not, but like, I mean, there is people are attracted to things that are young, to people that are young, the animals, that's like, there's something like biologically interesting in youth, I think, as well. Not to me. I mean, there is, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know. You guys, I don't know what I'm saying.
That fascinates me, though.
I won't commit to anything. I'm not going to commit to any opinions right now.
But that fascinates me, though, because maybe you're right. Maybe it just does speak to my age. I'm just not interested in a lot of the youth culture now.
Yeah.
How do I say this? It exhausts me emotionally.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe I'm just feeling my age. Maybe that's it. Back when I was a young whippersnapper, God, there I am again, 100 years old, and I was doing regional theater. I remember in my 20s working with older actors, and they were grumpy a lot of the time and just, complained about a lot of stuff. And I was just like, this is great. We get to be out here in the middle of summer. Sure, there are a lot of bugs and it's raining, but we get to do theater. Isn't this amazing? And now I am one of the people that's like, I hate this. I just want to be inside in air conditioning. This is exhausting. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if like the same way that we're like, because I resonates with me what you were saying about like the youthful culture or whatever. It kind of exhausts me 100%. But I wonder if when I was in that culture and when I was that age, which I was never that young. I feel like I was never that young. But anyway, when I was that age, I wonder if people who were like these would do the same thing and were like, oh my God, these people. Oh my God, 9 Inch Nails, stop.
Probably. Well, I still like 9 Inch Nails. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's probably just that we think we're going through some sort of special thing, but it might just be that like the generation that was 40 and 50s in the 80s was having the same reaction to, Devo. Like, like, oh, Devo. What is that? The guys with the silly things on their head, like, Beavis and Butthead, stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it might just be the way being a person is.
I think about these sorts of things a lot because I don't want to feel like my best work is behind me. I don't want to think, well, I was very successful at a certain time, and is that it? I want to feel like the work I'm going to make moving forward matters.
Okay, I have a question. How
Please.
do you determine success matters? Like, what do you even mean by that?
For me, sadly, it's been very external a lot of the time. There was one particular theater festival that anytime I'd return to either see a show or perform in another show, I'd have audience members come up to me and tell me that they liked what I did 2 years ago. They liked that one thing that I did 2 years ago. They really liked that thing. So sometimes I wonder, like, well, was that when I was really good and now I'm not good anymore? I know that's not true. I know it's all subjective. So I guess a lot of it is external for me.
Yeah. Now, this is an interesting question about art in general, right? Because you're right. Everything you just described there is subjective. So you're trying to get to, like, what's the objective measurement of success? Is it money? Is it the amount of times that you're booked to do the next thing? Is it like, how do you convert that subjectivity into an objective measurement?
There's also the shitty thing about the particular art form that you do, Joey. Theater is temporal.
Yes.
It does not exist. If you're a writer and you have poems, you have poetry that is concrete, and you can still show that to somebody, and there's still, like, that can get distributed. If it's a film, it can still get distributed. If it's a painting, there's an object there. The shitty thing about theater, the shitty and the lovely thing about theater, and this is true of other performing arts, like live performing arts based things, artwork, whatever. It's just, but it's limited to a time and a place. So, like, it's shitty because it's like that thing that you did 10 years ago was amazing. It doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
It's like that. It doesn't exist, and you can't get it back. And the only people who saw that were the ones that are there who remembered it. That's a very depressing.
So that would be the definition of scarcity. So going back to the economic conversation, that's like the most valuable thing then for the people that did see that show and can remember it and say, I was there for that. And so for those people, that was a tremendously valuable thing that can never be sold or transferred or
True. I wish I could still make money on it. I still wish I was somehow compensated for that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem, I guess. Well, I don't want to bring that. I'm saying that goes back to the Chalamet thing that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Just like business-wise, the way that theater is produced, it is less economically viable than other forms of creative endeavor, just because of the very nature of what it is. But the irony of it is the very nature of what it is what makes it interesting. And like what makes people want to go there, and make it valuable. And I think with AI, I think that live anything will continue to be, and maybe even see a bit of a renaissance because of AI. Because once all the shit on Netflix is all AI produced, there's going to be a little bit of like, I don't really want to watch another fake person do stuff. Like
I want to know that. Yeah.
I want to go see that somebody, like we saw Kelly's show whenever it was in January, February, whatever it was. Like she worked on that for a bunch of months, memorizing 90 minutes of mostly monologue, not even dialogue. And she did that. Like that's a real person who had to put the work in and do it. Like, it's kind of like why we watch like weightlifting competitions, or we want to see people lift stuff. Like, yeah, you could drive a forklift over to the thing and lift it right up, but nobody wants to watch that. That's not interesting, You want to see the person who put the time in. Because then, maybe because it's like a human thing, if I see that person doing that, that inspires me that maybe I can do something too, right? Like, because that person actually did it.
I hope you're right. I hope, I think you're a little more excited about the uses of AI than I am, because I just see it taking over my industry in such a way. I want AI to figure out my taxes. I don't want AI to make my art. That's what I get scared about that.
Well, I think it will make the art in the commercial way. I think it'll open up other opportunities. I believe it'll open up other opportunities by the very fact that that the real person is the antithesis of it, and that's where the value will come. I think.
You're right.
There's going to be a group of people, though, that only watch AI everything and only sit on Instagram all day scrolling and don't have any friends off the screen, which is kind of where we're at now. And some,
It's definitely the way we're headed.
Mm-hmm.
We're headed closer and closer to what was that movie? Wall-E. Do you remember that Disney movie?
Yeah.
We're headed. We're certainly headed in that direction.
There's an amazing young adult novel called Feed. This is from a long time ago. Feed like a feed and the concept is that it's kind of a Wall-E sort of thing. Everyone's attached in their brains to a feed, and so there'll be a whole bunch of people and they'll all start laughing at the same time because they're all watching the same program. And what happens is I don't remember, I only read it once, and show, like, when I read a book, I read it and I forget it, so it takes me several readings before I remember it. But the vague notion of it is that there's like a virus or something that knocks people off of the feed and they can't ever get back on the feed, but then they start living real life. But it's like a threat. It's a threat to kind of it's a little bit of a Big Brother sort of Matrix thing.
Sure.
It's young adult literature, but it's fantastic. Feed.
Wow.
F-E-E-D.
That sounds great. I'm surprised I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, it's really good. Again, I read it like 10 years ago, and then it was already old by that time, so it's probably, I don't know, 20 years old or something. Maybe not, maybe. I'll look it up right now. I'm going to look it up.
I'm surprised it hasn't been turned into a limited series or a movie. That sounds, wow. Wow, 20 years old. The turn of the century. This whole episode has just sounded like old people talking about old shit. Back at the turn of the century. Oh my gosh. We're saying that now. Oh my gosh.
It's because I started off before we started recording. It's because I lost my lotion. I lost the cap on my lotion, and I was like a doddering old grandpa chasing a ball down the hill.
It was beautiful to watch.
I set it in motion. I'll take it. I'll take the team. I'll take one for the team on this one. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Any other old person things that you guys want to comment on? Is it time for ice cream? So their glasses flew off.
Gosh.
What happened?
Yeah. I'll join you. I'll join you with this.
Gosh, man, you guys, I don't have any of those.
So next podcast, I'll introduce my nonprofit that I want to start. Remind me, it's a good one. I've already been talking about it with some other people. I mean, I think some of the backstage crew here, we might have already talked about it.
Should I be nervous?
Probably.
No.
I'm nervous.
Not nervous. I've just got some good plans for it. So, and I think we'll have a lot of people that will benefit from its good deeds.
I know what you're saying.
Boy.
To be continued. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks, dear friends.
Thanks for letting me stick around. Sorry, guys. I disrupted the whole thing. I didn't have any good news. I just set us down the path.
You're comic relief, dear friend.
Something.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.